Welcome back once again to another lesson. So in this lesson, we're going to look at multimedia elements that were introduced in HTML5. In the last lesson, we looked at new HTML elements and features called semantic elements. So in this lesson, we'll continue by learning how to create multimedia elements. So basically, the main multimedia elements that we're going to look at is audio and video. So we want to learn how we can add audio elements and video elements on web pages. Okay, so open VS Code. Okay, so I've already prepared some assets that we can use. So I created a folder called assets. Then inside that folder, I prepared two assets. So we have the video element and we have the audio. So the audio, I named it music.mp3. Then with the video, I named it video.mp4. Okay, so let me just play these the audio and the video so that you're able to see them before we get started. Okay. So this is the audio that we want to place on our platform. So there will be times when you want to create a platform for music where people be playing music online or something like that, and you want to add such an element. Okay, so that's what we are going to do this lesson. Okay, then another element that we are going to add is the video. So this video at the moment it doesn't have an audio, but it's just a video that's playing in the background. Someone is writing code. Okay, yeah, so these are the two elements that we are going to add on our web page. Okay, so we'll start off by just creating a heading. Okay, so we'll call this multimedia elements. Okay, multimedia elements like that. Then the first one we'll create an H3 header. Then we'll say audio element. Okay. Now remember we've learned about semantic elements. So it's high time that we start using the elements that we've learned, especially those that are in semantic HTML elements. So what we're going to do is, instead of just writing our main heading, which is supposed to be on top like this, we're going to create a container using the header semantic HTML element. Then we'll place our main heading there inside. Then for this one, we will now create a different section, okay, like that, where we'll place the audio. So this section will be dedicated to the audio. Then the other section, okay, the other section will be dedicated to the video. So here we'll add video element like that. Okay, we can style it properly. Okay, it's already structured. So we'll start off by adding audio on our website. So now how do we add audio? Okay, so in HTML there is an element called audio element. Okay, so this is how we add it. Unlike these other elements like H3, the audio element, you write the exact name, which is audio. It has no shortcuts. Okay, then inside the audio, so if you remember on how we were creating HTML forms, we had to create a form. Then inside the form, that's where we now added inputs. So we do create the audio in that same way. So you create first audio, then inside the audio, that's where you now add a tag called source. Okay, so this is the source tag. Okay, So now the source tag needs to have a source. Okay. Now this source that we are talking about, okay, this source that we're talking about points to the direction or to the location where the element that we want to add is. So in this case, we want to add audio on our page. Now the audio is in the assets folder, which is here, which is the music file, right? So that's what we want. We want to point to that folder and be able to access this music file. So what we're going to do here is that we're going to say dot forward slash, okay? The dot and forward slash here, okay, points to the current directory, okay? It points to the current directory that we are in, where this HTML file is in. So the HTML file is here and it's on the same directory. Sorry, it's in the same directory as these other folders, okay? So when we type dot forward slash, we are simply pointing to the current directory where we are. Okay, so from here we want to access the assets. So there you just type assets, okay, which even gives us a prompt. Then inside the asset, you'll now be able to see the different elements that are there, which is the music and video. So what we want to access is the music. So you click on music like that, okay. Now, after doing that, what we're going to do is we are now going to specify the type of music that we have. Now, it's not every audio, okay? It's not every audio element that will have MP3. There are other formats as well. So audio uh, media has got different formats. So the one that we are using is MP3. So what you do is that you add an attribute called type. Okay. So with type you specify, say this is audio, then you say forward slash, then you type MP3. Okay. Type MP3 to specify the type of audio that it is. So it's audio in the format of MP3. Okay. So this is how we add our audio element. So what we're going to do is that we're going to save the page and be able to run it. Okay. So we've pressed the go live, which opens up in the browser. Okay. Now, one thing that you notice is that the audio has not yet come. Okay. So it's showing that we don't have anything at the moment. But when we right click and inspect our page, okay, when you right click and inspect the page, you check in the body, okay? So on the elements tab here, this side, when you check in the body and you check in the first section there, you notice that we do have an element for audio, okay? So this is the element for audio and we've actually specified the source there, right? But now, why is it that it's not showing? So unlike video, with audio, it only has controls. So what you do now is this, you go to your HTML file, then inside the audio here, okay, we add another attribute called controls, okay, like that, okay. So you add an attribute called controls, then you save your work. So when you save and you go back now, you'll be able to see the audio there appear and it's showing you the timeline to say this is 1 minute 50 seconds, okay. So now when you play the audio, you'll be able to now hear, be able to control the sound, okay, and be able to download, right? So this is how you can add it to reference. Okay. So there it is. Now you can pause the, you can put it at whichever time frame you want. You can mute it if you want. You can increase the volume. All right, like that. So this is how we add the audio element. All right. So now go to another part. Okay. So now there are times when these HTML elements, like we said, these were introduced. These are new elements that were introduced in HTML5. So you find, because we are using Chrome as our browser, right? We're using Chrome as our browser, but not every user will be using Chrome as the browser. So some might use Firefox, some might use you know, might use Opera Mini and these other browsers as well, right? So we need to know if the user will be able to access this element once they open up our page on those different browsers, okay? So what you do is this: if every time you want to use something that has been introduced, which is new, all right, and you want to use it with some element that you've never used before and you want to use it on your page, you need to check if it's able um, to be used on different browsers, if browsers do support this element that you want. So what you do is you go to a website called caniuse, okay, .com, right? caniuse.com. So what this website does is that it shows you the different browsers, and it tells you if they do support the element that you want to use or not, right? So the element that you want to test is the audio. So what you do here is that you type audio, right? So you don't put like the less than, greater than, and all that, all those tags. No, you just type the name of the element, okay? The way you use it in the VS Code, right? The way we've typed it here. Okay. So what you notice that here they will now tell you to say, okay, this is an audio element. Okay. Then down here, that's where the results are. So you're able to see these are the names of the different browsers that a user can have access to, right? So at the moment we're using Chrome, and that's why we are able. This is the latest version of Chrome. That's why when it shows you green, it means that uh, this browser does support this element that we're trying to use, right? So when you go to Edge, it also does support, like the latest Edge browser does support. Okay, so most of these latest browsers do support, but when it comes to Opera Mini, right? So with Opera Mini, the old version, right, which was released that's March 16, 2015, right? But the latest one, Opera, does support, right? Which was introduced in when? April 20, 2023, which is this year, all right? Yeah. So we now know that, okay, this audio that we're trying to use is supported in almost all the browsers except the old version of Opera Mini, right? Now, there will be times when you want to use an element and you find maybe it's not supported in 3 or 4 of these, right? So what you do now is this, okay? It's not every time when you have an element that will be supported in all browsers. So you have to look at the major browsers, the most frequently used browsers that people use. So for example, you notice a lot of people use Chrome, they do use Firefox and Opera and Edge, right? They do use so these other ones are for mobile. So for example, if you check here, that's Android browser, right? So others are using it on their phones, others are using it on their PCs, desktop, and all that. So you have to look at the major ones, if they do support that element or not, and that's how you decide whether to use it or not. And in our case, audio is supported in all of them, so we'll still use it on our page, right? So you can still check for the video before we even add the video, right? So you can add the video there, and with video it's still the same thing. It's supported in all of them except the old version of Opera Mini, right? So go ahead and add the video element to our page. Now, what if you add this element, right? Let's say you add it. What is the user going to see, right? What is the user going to see for those that are using Opera Mini, right? So what you do is just below this element, all right? Just below this element, you have to type, you can type the message that you want the user to see. You can say, your browser does not support audio, right? Like that. Then you save the work. When we go back to our page, okay, when we go back to our page, you'll notice that the text here is not showing, but in our elements it is showing there, right? So the reason why it's showing in the elements is because we've added it, right? But the reason why it's not showing on the page is because our browser does support, right? So here, if the browser was not able to support this element, then it would be showing and it wouldn't show this audio element. Then the user wouldn't be able to play the sound. All right, so that's it on the audio. So now move on to the video element. Okay, so with video, it's the same thing. So what you do is that you use the video element like that, right? Then inside here, same thing, you add the source. Okay, that's source there, right? Then with the type, because we are dealing with a video, this time you add video forward slash, then you look at the element that we are adding, right? So the asset that we're adding is video.mp4. So the format is mp4. So even with video, you do have different formats, right? But the one that we're dealing with is mp4. So you have to add mp4 there and you close it like that, all right? So now we have to point to the directory where that video is. It's in the same folder as the music, right? So we say forward slash, full stop, then forward slash, then you go to the assets folder, then you now access the video like that, right? Okay, then even with this one, you can just copy this, okay, copy this, and you just say does not support video for this one, okay? Just say does not support video, okay? Then, so I'll leave this for now so that you see the difference, right? So with audio, if you don't put this, it automatically doesn't show this element. But with video, what you notice is that it will show this element, but it won't show those controls, all right? So we'll leave it like this for now and be able to save our work. And now let's go to our website, okay? So with video, it's not showing anything at the moment. Let's check why. Okay, so the video, we've added it. Okay, so with video, we forgot here, instead of typing mp4, I made a mistake and typed mp3. Okay, so let's try that again. Okay, now it's showing. Okay, so we do have our video like that. Now the thing that you notice is that the video is too big, so let me just remove this. The video is too big, right? So we can specify the size of that video. Okay, so we just think it's here. We specify the width. Okay, so we say 400 pixel like that. Then we save the work. Okay, so now you see, and at the moment it doesn't have any control, so we can't play the video, right? We can't play the video because remember we left out the control, right? So the point that I wanted to make is with audio, right? With audio, if you leave out the controls, it won't show anything, but with video it will show, but it will leave out the controls. So here what we do is you just type controls. If you want to have those controls, then you save, and when you go back on the page, you now be able to see these controls. Okay, so now you can play the video and it's playing like that, and people can actually download this video, right? So it's playing like that. Okay, so another attribute that you can add here, okay? So another attribute that you can add here, right, is this attribute called autoplay, okay? So from the name itself, I'm sure you know the function, right? Autoplay. So you don't have to press um, the, the play button like this, okay? So it will continue playing on its own. So if I remove these controls, okay, let's try. If we remove these controls, right, you notice that this time the video is playing in the background and it will continue. So it will finish, then start again, finish and start again like that. It will autoplay itself, okay, without the controls. So there are times when you'd want to add an element and maybe you want to show a visual of something, all right, an animated video or something like that, right? So you just basically add it there on the page, okay? You'd add it there on the page and leave it to autoplay, right? So put back the controls, okay, all right, like that. Okay, so this is how you add audio and video elements.